No, it's gonna end with you going to Josh's channel, and I'm gonna write in it at the beginning of the book so you can never throw it away.
You're not recording that. That was a great one. You have betrayed me. You have betrayed me in my time of need. But let me tell you who will never betray me is Booster Snacks. Booster Snacks would never betray me. They are permanent sponsors of this podcast almost. Maybe. Up to them. And like, let me tell you how I know they love us. Every chump now gets the George Went special at 50% off. They're like, George, you did so amazing. Pumping our chips. Telling people the beautiful, delicious flavors of delicious Booster Snacks. But we got something special for you guys.
Are you going to start the intro?
Special cards only available to members of May the Zoo Be With You family. And Louis, what is that code?
Start the podcast first, and then we'll get into the Booster Snacks.
Say the code, so help me God.
All right, the code is Bundle 2024, and not only do you get a special encased hollow foil card, but you also get a mega poster, everybody.
Wow.
Mega poster.
Wow. It's like a Megalodon poster size.
You get 50% off a Booster Snacks plus a mega poster and an encased hollow.
Thank you for working through your brain fog, Louis. And then go to boostersnacksus.com, right?
Yes, boostersnacksus.com. And that is our intro. Now
wait, was re-recording that? Whoa. Welcome to May the Zoo Be With You, America's most serialized Factland TCG podcast. You come here for all the accurate MTG news. I am, of course, joined by Mr. Fogbrain, master of the long COVID, master of the plague, Louis DeGeorge.
At least I made it to the first guest.
I got one for Josh this week. I was thinking about it. And I am, of course, wow, what are you drinking out of?
This is a giant thing of water because I am.
It looks like a blender bottle.
I'm so ridiculously sick right now. It's going to be a miracle if I make it through the podcast.
Most listeners are hoping you don't. And I am, of course, joined by the man who does his own serialized Factland. Just bust out that Sharpie. Josh,
I really do.
I backed the thing on Kickstarter where they printed the stickers for the serialized cards that make it look like serialized, and I never filled out the backer form after I paid for it. I forgot to fill the backer form.
I have so many of those.
I wanted to make a serialized deck and put them on every card, but
that project was awesome.
Yeah. All right, everyone. Welcome to May the Zoo Be With You. We are
the sexiest voice I've ever heard.
Welcome
to the podcast, you guys.
We are sponsored.
What you doing the night?
We are sponsored by Booster Snacks.
BoosterSnacksUS.com.
Go buy some Booster Snacks. Use that code Bundle 2024. Save 50%. Get yourself some free stuff as well.
Go ahead. Throw in the comment section what card you got.
And a free encased hollow. All right, today we're going to talk about how Wizards of the Coast must listen to this podcast. So shout out to you, Mark Rosebotter, and
his aunt.
And his aunt intentionally gave you long COVID.
They must listen to us. Then we're going to talk about MH3 versus Fallout. We're going to put those two sets together as the epitome of what Magic the Gathering is now, if you like that or not. Then after that, we're going to get into the Arthurian Legends speculation. There was recently a alpha investment video that got some traction and some conversation going. We'll talk about all that.
But you didn't tell me there was homework for this podcast.
No, I never tell you homework. Speaking of the homework, Lorcana doing their best to pump George's bags. Is first chapter out of print? Will it ever be out of print? Find out on section 4 of this podcast. And finally, we got George's special sauce at the end. A special debate between George and I, of which Josh has no clue.
No clue.
George has no clue about the other 4 segments. Correct. Josh has no clue about that one.
You have lost the right to say that with your Factland nonsense, both of you.
That's 100% fair.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
Josh, we said there was fetch lands in MH3. We agreed on it. You and I both said it.
We said there are fetch lands in MH3.
No, you said there were serialized fetch lands.
I said nothing of the sort.
We definitely did that.
I know I did. I definitely did.
We dropped the ball. We apologize. Listen, so sue us. No, don't sue us. That's the opposite of the point I'm trying to make.
My favorite is somebody who's like, do you think they're trying to pump their bags? I'm like, yeah, those 3 listeners really going on a buying spree, boys. Relax.
When people say
this set does not need our help.
Yeah. I'm also eating blueberries because I need that, like, pick me up.
I can't believe you're just not eating candy. I know you. I've known you for a few years now, Louis. I think you need some Twix.
I didn't have time to go to Sheets. I didn't have time.
Just take your camera with you and go. That'd be a great episode.
Did you quit sugar?
No, God no. I need to, but
maybe that's why you got sick. Not enough candy today.
I'm gonna wait till my kids are both above the age of 4. I think that's the time to not be stressed. Until then, I'll just stress eat. Like I think that's the best option. All right, so serialized cards. Here's the actual info for everybody. Serialized cards.
Hold on. It's for really true this time.
Yeah, this time we're serious.
For 100% realsies.
What movie is that? I'm super serial.
Super serial.
It's gonna be a South Park episode. It's the one with the barefoot man.
Yeah,
it's like I'm super serial.
I'm super serial. Yeah.
All right. The serialized cards are.
Take this with a grain of salt. We know serialized cards.
God, I forgot all about you. God,
just take it. Just take it with a grain of salt.
That tweet was up for like 30 seconds, and you still screenshot it.
I got a notification on my phone. It was great.
I don't even have a Twitter anymore.
Shout out to you, Steve Jobs.
Yeah, I haven't gone on Twitter for 2 months. I'm very proud of me.
I just don't believe you.
George have the app. You send us tweets, and I can't even read the full thread because I don't have the app downloaded. I can only read the part 1 of 10.
I think when I screenshotted this tweet, it was still Twitter. It wasn't even X.
That's not true at all.
Oh, maybe not.
That's definitely not true.
Wow, what a wild fact check by Louis. Like all the things to fact check, that's the one you're like, no, that's outrageous, Josh. How dare you? It was still called X.
Sure. No, he's right though. He's right. It was fair.
All right, so the fetch lands.
Wild.
No, the serialized cards are only 3 of them, only the Eldrazi's, and they are serialized out of 250, which makes a total of 750 serialized cards if you can't do math. But importantly, this is the least number of serialized cards that have ever been in a Magic the Gathering set. So we have often criticized the number of serialized cards in the sets. At least I have. I believe George was the one who said that they should make them the collector boxes should be extremely hard to get, and that kind of thing. What do you guys think this does for the set?
It's good. It's good. It works. Like this is what they should do. Like this. Like I don't think they're there yet. Still, I think there's some room to improve on this. But like, serialized cards should be hard to pull. Like that should be a oh my god, I gotta tell everybody moment. And the less you make serialized cards that oh my god, I gotta tell friends, I gotta post it on the Discord, I gotta go to Hometown Discord and Kitchen Table Discord and post in both those amazing places, links below. The less you make it exciting, the more useless serialized cards are. So I think this is like a very big positive step.
This is my argument when we talked about it with Brothers War, was the idea that there were so many serialized cards, and every time they print more serialized cards, it just devalues the serialized cards as a whole, which I think has been largely
that's true still.
I
still disagree with that.
Like the price of serialized cards has consistently gone down after release.
The price of every card on release goes down.
Yeah, but isn't one of the points of serialized cards to make it like a pseudo reserve list type thing that like the price is stable? Isn't that the hope of a serialized card?
Well, I think it's to keep it chase, right? It's to keep it to holding value better than other non-serialized cards, which they have clearly done. Like it's doing that very well. The price of serialized cards is going up as they fine-tune this thing. Karlov Manor, as terrible as the set was, the serialized cards are selling for a boatload. And
I'm saying if you go back to Brothers War, you can get a Brothers War serialized card for like $80 right now, can't you?
Yeah, you can. Yes, you can get a card that you will never play or does not see any players as an iconic. And yeah, the non-iconic cards that are serialized are going to speak to a smaller sector of the community.
Think that's a bad thing. I mean,
no,
you can if you open a box of sports cards, which is why I always compare this stuff to, especially with like the collector boxes, you can get an absolute scrub. You can get a George Wendt 1 of 1,000. It's worthless. It's worthless. Nobody wants my fat little face on the card going like, yay! Then you get like the opposite end. You get like these like 1 out of 3 booster snack cards, and they're priceless.
You get the Josh.
Yeah, you get this 12-foot giant card, and it's it's
to make the card extended.
You have to unfold it from the back to see my head.
Yeah, I don't think having cheap serialized cards is a problem. That does not bother me.
I actually like the tiers of collectability and value because it's one of the cool things about the reserve list, and they're not exactly the same, right? But one of the cool things is like you can feel that rush in getting involved in the reserve list, spending $10 and be like, oh, I have cards that'll never get printed again. And you get this, like, it's a different feeling than modern Magic. I like tiers of collectability. I like accessibility at all kinds of levels. Hey, you want to chase this thing down and get something super valuable? You can. Hey, you just want to throw your hat in the ring and get involved? You know, $80 in your pocket, right? I think that's not a bad thing. I do agree that, you know, the 500 and the 63 set, you know, 1 out of 500, 63 set, that was too big. It was too big especially for a standard release.
Yeah.
Right. But they're nailing this in, and I think over time it's going to show. It's going to keep getting better and better. And I mean, we're taking to it. Look what we're spending on the things.
Yeah.
I just think they need to have variations. They need to have different art, and they need to have out of 250, out of 50, out of 5, out of 10s, and a 1s.
So, like, Lord of the Rings did that really well.
Yeah, I mean, Lord of the Rings was cool because it was thematic, right? Like it worked with the 3, 9, and 12, right? 3, 6, 3, 7,
yeah, but
and 9.
Couldn't you not get those in foil unless they were serialized? The non-foils were the only other ones, right?
Yeah. And this is what I was going to say. I like the. I wish that the art was different on these ones for the Eldrazi's, different art than the regular set. That's the thing that I wish that every serialized was a unique art, and I think they should make it like some sort of iconic artist, really cool stuff. Because I disagree. I'm going to tell my point. I disagree with you guys about the cheap serialized cards. I don't. It should be a feel good when you pull a serialized card, not like an, oh man, I didn't even get the value of the box back. Like you could hypothetically pull a Brothers War serialized card, and not make your value back on the booster box, and that's a feel bad.
I think that'd be really hard to accomplish.
It's not.
I mean, it's again for the last 2 sets, you more than make your value of the box back. But I don't think that's a bad thing. Again, I don't want to lose the especially early on. Maybe we get there one day, but like early on when this is settling in, I like the idea of tiers of this thing. I like different serialized cards that you can get into. You got entry level stuff. You got, you know, your crazy hyper expensive stuff. You got highly speculative Karlov Manor cards that are going to be worthless in 2 years because that set is banana bonkers bad.
More importantly than that, though, what I like about the way they've done serialized cards in this set is that the value of the set is not conducive to the serialized cards at all.
Don't you take my hot take?
That's my take right now. I'm literally saying it.
Dang.
Sorry, I beat you to it. You can pretend like you copied it if you want.
You got it. Yeah, I will. Look copy from you. It's fine.
The value of the set is not baked into the serialized cards. It's an extra like YOLO win. If you win, great. But there's so much value baked into every single. Like that's what this set has going for it, which is the same thing that Lord of the Rings actually had going for it too. Like Lord of the Rings serialized cards were pretty hard to pull. They were a little easier than this. But you know, you had Orcish Bowmasters, you had the One Ring, you had so much value baked into the set in the whole. I think that's what this set has going for it.
Buddy, you nailed that. You just crushed that. I'm kind of upset.
God, the plague escaping.
I muted myself that time. Not to you.
No, you did.
No, on the recording.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
It's like I
didn't know you could do that.
I can do that. You guys can't.
So that's the question at the start of this segment was like, what does this do for MH3, or how do we like this in MH3? And my hot topic here is hot take is it doesn't matter. MH3 is such a banger.
Louis? You should drink Prime.
I usually do, but I'm out.
You seem like a Prime guy with a hat. Both of your hat backwards. Dumb biscuits.
Dumb biscuits. Ow! You really hurt my feelings there, George. I'm a dumb biscuit.
It's like Limp Bizkit, but dumb.
One time, never mind. I won't get into the things George said that hurt me. Josh, Josh. One time, George.
No, you're trying to poison the well before our topic. No. You can tell the stories at the end of the podcast after our debate. You're not going to poison the well on me, big dog. Ain't going to happen.
One time when I was talking to George with my headphone in, George told me, George told me that I bring, quote, nothing to our relationship.
Not what I said.
Word for word, what he said.
Not at all what I said.
This was, mind you, about 4 weeks after we started a friendship, too. And I would also with him. I stuck with it.
Every time you tell the story, it gets worse. Is my favorite part.
I think he had a point.
Oh God! Now that's all he's going to talk about. Josh can whine about every time he talks.
That's fine. Anyway, yeah, I think there's a lot of value baked in. Josh, what are you like thinking for? Do you know anything with Modern? What are people looking at? Because all I've heard is like Commander people excited about. Like,
Are you talking about cards in the metagame, or are we talking serialized cards? Because that's a weird
cards in the metagame. Because we said like there's value baked into this outside of serialized cards.
Oh, it's. I mean, listen, Yogg got a little help, but mostly it's a lot of support for new archetypes. There's a lot of brewing going on, and I'm watching it. I'm not doing any of it myself, but I'm watching a lot of content about it. It's just probably the best time in Magic. Like when a set like this drops, nothing in the meta has been set in stone, and everyone's just brewing and trying stuff. And you see people leaning into the strategies. There's a lot of pushing this big Eldrazi strategy outside of Tron, right? Not exactly Tron, but this big Eldrazi strategy. You see energy trying to make a comeback, people brewing this stuff. This is what makes sets like this exciting, is not only does it reach so many people, but there's just a ton of stuff to do. Now, will it boil down to Yogg and Murktide? Probably.
There's a new pseudo Tron land, George.
Yeah.
That
serialized?
Is not, but it's like a pseudo Tron land. Like it gets seen by
but it's bonkers.
Well, this is a good time for me to pump. I'm doing on Saturday, June 22nd.
This is just a pumping podcast now. I'm here for it.
On Saturday, June 22nd.
The first 5 minutes kind of pumping there.
Yeah, you kind of go overboard on the pumping.
No,
you
no
kind
of
make it.
No such thing when there's such a delicious snack as booster snacks.
Yeah. Anyway, June 22nd, we're going to do a qualifier for the Apex $20,000 Modern tournament. So if you're in the region over here,
wait, are you pumping your local events now on the podcast?
Qualifier to a $20,000 tournament. Yes, I am pumping it. If anybody wants to come to the qualifier,
God, if you're in West Virginia and you don't know about the Louis store, congratulations, you're the one.
June 22nd. People from all over come. People from all over come to the sorcery once. Why won't they come to the Modern ones?
People coming the only event in the country for sorcery. You're the one event for sorcery. There's other Magic events.
We're doing this live, right, boys? From Gen Con?
Yeah, I'll be there.
All three of us will be at Gen Con.
I'll be there.
George, I got a room just for you, George.
What episode is this? Are we close to? We're like at 100, aren't we?
No.
Is this episode 100?
No, it's 97, I think.
97. Gotcha.
Who hates the episode structure? You just pay a lot of attention to it.
I have a specific thing I want to do for one of the episodes. I want to make sure.
I think he's anxious about what happens at season 3. He's like,
no, he's not.
Every other season 3, we've kicked somebody out. He kind of feels like it's him. He's like,
me and Mick are doing a secondary podcast, so good luck.
What? George and I haven't talked about kicking you off, Josh, which means that he thinks that you and I are talking about kicking him off.
It's like the world's worst Survivor, where nobody watches.
Nobody can kick me off because then the podcast just doesn't get posted.
That's true. I want to say that it's true. I don't know how to post videos.
YouTube.com/hometownTCG. May the zoo be with yourself.
Me and Mick are doing a Genesis podcast.
You would also have to figure out how to download the MetaZoo font.
Oh, you know what? That's the deal breaker. I agree. That's got to be I don't know if I have the $7 in my pocket after all the MH3 I bought.
Let's move on to MH3 versus Fallout. So I think this is actually, this is Josh's topic, but I think this is actually super interesting because I think this is the perfect 2 sets that now kind of qualify what we will be excited about every year. We're going to be excited about whatever the summer set is, and then whatever the big like Universe Beyond set is, which I think next year the big summer set is going to be the Universes Beyond set.
Final Fantasy, baby.
Marvel.
What
is next summer going to be Marvel and Final Fantasy back to back?
I don't know if it'll be back to back, but they did make the statement they're moving to 2 major Universes Beyond releases a year over one.
Did you mute yourself?
I did.
Does anyone got a chip bag that can crinkle?
All right, so what's the win that was, because Fallout's like $550 a box right now.
What?
Yeah. Now here's the difference with Fallout versus Modern Horizons 3. I think I got a total of like 10 boxes of Fallout.
That was tight.
I asked for 150 whatever. I got like none.
Yeah,
I think at one point it was 6, and then like I got 1 or 2.
One of the distros took mercy.
Yeah.
Well, because like I love, because I'm like, I don't know what 10 versus 6 actually does for me. It's like, you know, like I appreciate that you're trying, but this doesn't actually help anything.
Yeah. MH3, I got significantly more of. I think I hit almost 150 boxes.
Take that, Rudy. Got you back.
Yeah, I don't know. Rudy's video, he was like, I don't think any stores are getting over 40 boxes. I was like,
that's a hot take. That's a hot take. Not as hot as like Fetchland and Serialized, but like that's a pretty hot take.
Yeah, I mean, he said 40. He said 100 in there.
Like, maybe my content's just terrible. That doesn't seem that off base. That doesn't seem, for you to keep harping on that, it doesn't seem that bad.
What? It's just like my store is not. I'm not in the top tier.
No, the serialized fetch links thing that he keeps harping on.
Oh yeah,
doesn't seem that bad. That's not that bad. That's not that outrageous.
We were pretty adamant that serialized fetch lands were.
George, if we were to spend the podcast talking about things that you got wrong on TCGs,
it's called May the Zoo Be With You. The entire other part of this podcast.
Mon to 1K. Mon to 1K.
Oh my God! I
said sales tax of 1K. Go watch the record. I said it will one day hit sales tax of 1K. You just gotta hold on.
If your prices were right, my collection would look.
I don't want to talk about that,
buddy. If my predictions were right,
yeah, we wouldn't be doing the podcast.
We don't be on vacation. The zoo would not be with us.
I'd be living in the zoo. Like there's 50,000 dogs, no cats.
So I think it's safe to say that the demand for Fallout was significant, but probably less than the demand for MH3.
Yeah. So they kind of fill two needs, right?
What are those two needs?
MH3 is your major, like, hey, you're a Magic fan. This is the set. This is it, baby. This is the set this year. Yeah. If you're a casual or involved in some other IP or pop culture or something going on, your Universes Beyond set is meant to hit you. That doesn't mean that it doesn't also sell to Magic fans, as most sets do, but they seem to do two different things, right? And so it's interesting to think, is one more valuable than the other? Does Wizards need both? Do we need the set that reaches outward and says, hey, new people, play experience, shuffle up Commander decks and play? Or do we need the big fan service, you're already a Magic fan set? Do we need each of those a year? Or do you think the big fan service set's going away?
I think it's nice. If you're going to do Universes Beyond, I think you need both of those.
Which you're okay with.
Listen, I've come around to it. I'm
okay with it.
Totally okay with.
How much money did you make off Fallout Commander?
Like nothing. Well, Commander made some, but like the problem with Fallout is like when it's that low supply, you don't make any money off of it.
No, but the Commander decks are selling like crazy.
That's fair. I mean, that's fair. And those stay on the shelf and suck. The problem with that again is that you have to buy all four of them, and people only want the Mothman.
Sell them as a group, man.
Nobody
now break them up. Now break them up. But sell them as a group.
Anyway, I think that the bringing everybody into Magic side, like I think this would be really good for one-on-one. Like I think this should be a good thing for Modern. Like I think more people will hop into and want to jump into Modern as a result of this, because the meta shifting, everything's new, everything's fresh. They can build new, you hop in with a new deck. You're playing the new set. You're like,
let's say a couple of those decks stick. A couple decks stick that are made mostly out of MH3 cards as we start to see things heading downward. Your Is It Energy just sticks around as a staple in the meta. Well, now maybe it's a cheaper deck. You got an entry point into Modern, and you don't have to pay nearly as much.
Yeah, or you already have a lot of cards just from drafting or playing in.
100%. It's an absolute win. It's like it gives Modern a little bit of what Standard used to have. You consequently just have the cards because you're playing Magic, so you might as well play this format.
Right. So I think it's good for that. People were excited for Fallout from a Commander perspective. Not like this, though. MH3 has people just like my Discord server, my store Discord server. It's just people chatting about it all the time, and like in store, this is what people are excited about for the year. And they were excited for Fallout, but they were excited for Fallout because it was Fallout, not because of the new cards. Like they wanted to keep the decks together and whatever.
Yeah. Do you think Fallout exceeded the hype though? I remember leading up to Fallout, it was exciting, but it wasn't like bananas like it turned out to be.
Yeah, I mean, I think so. I mean, obviously the market thinks so too, right? Like a $500 collector box is Like, is that the first $500 collector box?
I think Lord of the Rings, technically, the first set
Barely
did
beat
it first,
Yeah.
dipped back under, and Fallout is still there.
I can't think of another, like, unless like Commander
Special-
Legends. Is Commander Legends collectors up there?
No, it wasn't. We had one, I think MH2 for a while was 480 collector boxes.
Double
and then-
Masters is weird because they're 4-pack
Four-pack,
boxes, so they're cheaper, but pack to pack they're more expensive. But
Yeah.
anyway,
Look-
very successful from a financial standpoint, but the supply was nothing, right? Like, I actually,
That was a big miss.
well,
that was the biggest miss of the year.
so I feel the same way about Fallout collector boxes as I feel about what was that middle set, the March of Machine, the Aftermath. Like,
You hate it?
like it's just like
Vehemently?
it doesn't matter to me. Like, I like in this case, I made
Oh,
a couple. I mean, what did I make? Maybe $1,000, maybe that, and 10 boxes. Probably made $100 a box, something like that. Like, maybe I made $1,000 with Aftermath. I probably like broke even or what, whatever. But like, I didn't change my business. It wasn't a massive thing that was awesome. It was just like a blip on the radar, and now it's like on to the next set. So like, I think I wish Fallout was more than that, and I think that they should look into the universes beyond as more than.
I think if you're gonna do a Universes Beyond set, you could have boxes available for people. Like, it's about bringing new people in.
well, but there are. The Commander decks are widely and readily available. This is kind of doing. I'm a big fan of this because it's doing what the collector box was meant to do. Now, it's weird to be in a Universes Beyond set, but it's doing what the collector box is supposed to do. Collector box drops, sells out, and becomes rare.
But then make a regular box.
But George, what you are saying is exactly what they're doing with Assassin's Creed, which is the next set that's out.
I thought about this.
And that is the Beyond booster boxes. I have to say,
come on, it's not the Beyond. It's
I'm not very excited about it.
What's a Beyond booster box?
It's the same exact thing as.
I changed my background so it's not an arm's reach, but it's the Aftermath.
It's the same exact thing as epilogue booster boxes, basically. Instead of, I think
That's not great.
Don't quote me, George. I know that you are remembering everything.
Louis, how many serialized fetch lands are in Assassin's Creed?
I think that
you guys were pretty adamant when I questioned it.
I think that Aftermath was like a 48 card set or something like that. And I think that Assassin's Creed is like an 80 card set.
Right,
it's like something like that.
That's a big miss.
It's an epilogue set to Modern Horizons.
Why would they do it? Like, I don't get that.
And like, listen, they to their credit, they corrected. Aftermath dropped, tanked, right? Outlaws of Thunder Junction had an Aftermath. They went the big score. They went, never mind. This didn't work. Stuff it in the same set. And look at Outlaws of Thunder Junction.
Yeah, it's a good set.
Not only selling like crazy, but also holding insane value.
Is
like,
wild.
I don't know why.
Underwater is wild.
I had to find a jug. Don't worry, I have a second one. This is number 2.
It's like they learned their lesson and then forgot it all over again.
Well, I
wonder if it's an IP problem.
That very well could be. Maybe it has.
I don't know. That's just where my head went.
Yeah. That's a good point.
Like, I guess the question is, why didn't Fallout have something like that, like a vault box, right?
Where that just seems lazy to me. Like, I'll be candid, that seems lazy to me. Like the 80 card set seems lazy to me.
Well, I'm saying if you want to keep some sort of booster pack in store for the new player to open, like you're saying, George, you can't force more cards into the set. So that's the way to handle it. I don't like either of it. I wish they would have just printed maybe. I don't even want them to print that many more of the booster boxes for Fallout. Maybe another 25% or something like that. Like just a small restock. Oh, but the problem is a lot of those probably end up on Amazon is the reality of this.
Well, I also think it has to do with what the set does, right?
The Amazon dumps have largely stopped.
It's on dumps now. They're selling the good product on Amazon.
Yeah, at a pretty high price, though.
Still, I mean...
Yeah, they're selling it higher than you are. So if people are going to Amazon to buy it, they would have never come to you.
I'm not selling it. I have nothing. I literally tried. I talked to my staff today.
Or would be selling it at, or secondary market price.
I talked to my staff today about should I buy Fallout, Lost Caverns, and Wilds of Eldraine collector boxes off of TCG Player to have and sell packs in the store and still make like a 20% profit, but to break them off, or if it's not worth it to do it. Because like we can't get those, and that's what everybody wants. Everybody comes in and asks, "Do you have Lost Caverns of Ixalan?"
Well, it is the craziest part of TCGs how nobody wants anything they can get.
Yeah,
and they all want stuff that they can't.
But I mean, part of that is just like maybe the print size of that and Karlov Manor were the exact same, and one just sold out. Like,
oh yeah, I mean, Karlov Manor sucked.
But that's what I'm saying. Maybe the print runs were the exact same.
A lot of Karlov hated this episode. I'm here for it.
I hate
that. Karlov Manor was not.
I hated that set at 8:30 on pre-release night. I sat down to build my deck, and I was like, I have absolutely no clue what to do.
That's how I felt with Outlaws.
Yeah, but I've played Magic for 15 years. I've played Magic. Like, I had no clue what to do. I hated that set so much. We will never run another Murders at Karlov Manor draft in my store. We will never do it.
Only draft Sorcery.
So back to Assassin's Creed versus Fallout. Don't that do two different things? You don't need an epilogue box in Fallout because the Fallout set is supposed to be your out of the box play experience. Now they threw a collector booster box in there to transition to selling packs and collectibility. But the whole point of a standalone Commander release is it's the play experience in that universe.
And Assassin's Creed
doesn't seem to fit.
And Assassin's Creed doesn't have commander decks.
Right. But it's not the point of that set is not a play experience. It's an injection. 2-player
starter, I think a bundle that has epilogue packs in it, the epilogue booster box. It's not epilogue, it's called Beyond Booster Box.
Beyond Boosters.
And then a collector box, which I think, don't quote me, George.
Is it the skinny one?
I think it's a skinny 4-pack one. Don't quote me. I might be wrong. I don't have it in front of me. I gotta go to
Rudy for this info.
All right, I'm gonna look it up.
Does that seem good to you guys?
No.
They had this model in their mind that they wanted to now hold on to this thought for the back half of this podcast. But they had this model in their mind where they wanted to print a small set and just inject it into the metagame of a format to try to shake things up. That was their idea that they had with Aftermath. That's the idea they had with the Big Score, and that's the idea that they're running with Assassin's Creed. It didn't work. We didn't take to it, and it seems like we're still dealing with the fallout from that decision. That's what this is meant to be.
I am wrong about collector boxes. Are
they fatty collector boxes?
They are 12 packs per box, but there's only 10 cards per pack.
Yeah, there was something skinny about them.
So that's why this podcast isn't like them. So
yeah, they do not belong on this podcast. They will not be welcome here.
They ain't got our curves. They ain't got our curves.
We like real thick and juicy.
we like quarter pounders with cheese, basically. I guess.
Yeah, I was about to say.
What's it like?
There's also
like a good Snickers bar with dinner every now.
There's a Assassin's Creed starter deck. There's a bundle and then the Beyond booster.
You're right. So it's the sets are trying to do two different things.
I
so
don't like that
advocating for an Aftermath style booster in Fallout doesn't make sense. I like the way they're doing standalone commander sets. The idea of the play experience, the community, and transitioning you to Kraken.
Is Assassin's Creed gonna flop?
I am ordering light. Also, I think most other people are because it's still like open order.
Yeah.
And
you know what that means, George? Time to go all in.
I also like, I'm sorry, maybe I'm just old, but like, when's the last time people liked the Assassin's Creed?
The game was cool, and then it
was cool when I was in high school.
Yeah. No,
Assassin's Creed is goat.
I
love Assassin's Creed.
It was cool when I was in high school. It's not Fallout level.
Like 3 years ago. Relax.
No, it is not Fallout. And Fallout had the juice with the TV series that was dropping.
Yeah, dude. I actually think that's going to do really well for. Dude, that show is so good.
Did I
tell you guys we never talked about this last week? Oh my god, we never talked about this last week. So my family, my mom's side of my family, very proper, nice people. They have a book club. I know this doesn't surprise you guys.
It does a little bit that your lineage reads, but
every month I still get the emails because they really want me to be in the book club. Not going to happen. They read
I just want you to learn how to read, Louis.
They read like the books that you would think a book club reads. Okay, it's like that. It's not like reading fun, cool books. It's like let's read whatever book club book is in your brain. They probably read. Love them. not my style, right? So they send an email.
Nicer to them
This
on the
podcast attacking book clubs was not on my bingo card, and I'm here for it. Here for it.
My sister sends an email to the whole thing. I'm still in it. I haven't read an email in 10 years, right? One of their emails. Sometimes I read other people's emails. Most of the time, I miss them. So email comes in. They're like, hey, this month we are voting on either a book or a movie. All of a sudden, Louis interested, right? So there's a form that you can fill out, and it's a Google form, okay? I voted for movie 16 times. There was no limit on the votes that you could put for movie.
You rigged your mom's book club vote?
You didn't have to sign in. So I looked, there was like 18 people in the message. So I voted for movies 16 times. Okay, wait for it. It gets better.
It must be an election year. It must be an election year.
Wait for it.
You rigged your mom's book club.
While I was in Iceland, I get an email that my sister says, hey, we're doing a movie this time. Use this link to vote for what movie you think we should watch. No. I voted for the Fallout series show 16 times.
This is why they need voter integrity.
I get back from Iceland. My sister, I love her. I'm sure in other ways she is very smart. My sister sends an email and says, well, looks like the most voted thing was the Fallout TV show. We're going to start watching it. Nobody was like, would our family really vote for this 16 times? Nobody asked the question.
This election was rigged and stolen. George, let's storm Louis' mom's porch.
What? So why did you do that? Like, what was the point of this?
Because
we need chaos. Have you met Louis?
Nothing in the entire world is going to be as funny as reading the emails of my family watching a show about carrying a severed head for 10 episodes across a
They carry a severed head?
You have not watched Fallout?
No.
The whole entire show from episode 1 revolves around moving somebody's severed head across the
spoilers
the barren desert.
The Accolade starts tomorrow.
So yeah,
buddy, watch Fallout.
Yeah.
So when I have a thing where I either have to, like, when I start a show, I have to watch all of it or just stop.
No, you're gonna.
It's a short series.
And like, so I'm in the middle of Modern Family. There's a lot of seasons of Modern Family.
Drop Modern Family.
Modern Family.
Modern Family is the perfect picture of what my family typically watches. Okay, that's what they are used to. Modern Family.
Drop that. Like, Louis' family is going to drop him from the will after they find out about what just happened.
Honestly, totally worth it. Totally 100% worth it. I'll keep you guys updated.
I'm excited now.
Maybe I can even read the messages.
Do you think you're going to rig every election now?
No, I don't. If I can get them,
where will you be November of this year?
If I can get them to actually watch it, I will consider that. I might even join a book or actually read one of their books.
There's 0% chance of that. There is, unless they're reading Dr. Seuss, there's no chance of this.
Oh, The Places You Go is my favorite book.
You can do audiobooks of everything now, though, Louis. You don't have to read any of it.
I don't have the attention span for that either. That's the problem.
Can't read.
I told you guys.
I told you to be with you.
I want to listen to the podcast of the author who is talking about the book. That is the best way for me to absorb information.
I thought he was going to say he wants to listen to this podcast. I was just going to call you vain.
So, I get a lot of books. I get a lot of, like, people send me a lot of books now, like, as gifts. And it's always hard because I never know. Like, yeah. I will say. That did cross my mind the other day. Like, I got I bet you I literally got like 8 books this month already. Last month from like gifts. I'm like, they're all like kind of cryptic. You're dying books, right? They're all like, they're also books I already have, like Man's Search for Meaning.
Buddy, I've seen the amount of soda you drink. Those are good books for you.
Like I've read that book 10 years. I have 3 copies of that book.
I thought I was gonna die a decade ago. I was ready. I was in.
And I'm like, I don't know what's going on here, you guys. Like, enough. Like, I don't know. Too many books.
Everybody send George your death books. How to die with while you love other people.
I also basically only read business biographies, and that's basically it. I'm trying to think what else I would read. That's basically it. So
good.
Josh, what's the last book you read?
I'm reading a book on cybersecurity right now for reasons.
Work doesn't count.
But I was going through my stuff, George, and I found an old book I had called The Punch about the NBA incident with Rudy Tomjanovich, where he got hit so hard his skull separated. And I thought about buying you a copy and sending it to you because it's a really interesting book about what was going on in the NBA at that time. And now, definitely not sending you that book.
Oh, you should totally send him that book. I'm gonna
definitely not. It's just gonna end up on a shelf, and he's gonna be like, "My idiot friends keep sending me books."
I like the book. Most of them send good books. Most of them are nice. They inscribe the book.
It's just
I also read ALS books. I read a lot of ALS books, but there's also a very finite number of ALS books. And so I feel like I've tackled most of them, to be honest.
Nothing's worse than getting a book that has somebody's name written in it with a note from you for you. Nothing's worse.
Oh no, not if you.
Then you can't even throw the book away. You feel like
those are the only. Oh God, I am getting old. Wow, this is a terrible topic. I do feel old now. Those are my favorite gifts. Those are my favorite. Those are the gifts.
What, Louis? Hold on. Let's get him a coloring book and let's inscribe it. Let's write our names.
Somebody got me Christensen's last book, and they wrote me a very nice inscription in it. It was very touching. Those things matter. I like those. That's very kind of them.
I understand that George is coming out looking like the good person here, and that's fair. And I'm looking like a dick who's like, I don't like the gift that I was given from somebody who thoughtfully made a book for me.
George did start by complaining about the gifts.
I'm okay with that position. I will switch. I get to switch positions at the last topic, so we'll get there when we get there. All right, here we go.
Will you read this book if I send it to you?
Is that a 5th edition rulebook?
Yep.
PSA grades those now. Isn't that
they also grade booster snack
cards. They do. Shout out to Booster Snack for the tangent. All right, Arthurian Legends. Speaking of reading, we're gonna send George Arthurian Legends.
Is it? Hold on. Is it Arthurian or Arthurian? Is it Arthur, like King Arthur? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
What did you think it was?
Arthurian. I didn't know if you should enunciate the Arthur. I was just.
What is Arthurian?
I don't know either. I didn't hear Arthurian until this set ever, so I was just asking.
Are you just making up words now?
Wow.
Yeah.
This is why you had nothing to relationships.
No, that's what you said.
I'm starting to realize why your peers don't respect you. It's taken me 100 episodes, but I'm getting there.
It took George 4 weeks.
I'm ahead of the curve because I do a lot of reading.
You brought nothing to this relationship very early.
Okay.
I'm glad we said that because the viewers have they add nothing to my life either.
That's a great point. What's the title of this podcast? If the title of this podcast isn't "We Add Nothing to Your Life," then I don't know what to say. When you ask me for a title at 2 a.m.,
that surprises me. That actually surprises me about you, Louis. I thought you would have liked that.
No.
I would like inscribed books.
Look, I know you can't read the book, but you can still read the inscription.
But it's meaningful.
Have your daughter read it to you.
It's also meaningful.
But is it?
Yes, they picked a book that they thought you would get something out of. They wrote a note explaining why that book made them think of you. That's touching.
Yes.
No, it's not. I would feel better.
Me, I'll be honest.
I'm going to kick you in the knee as a gift next time I see you.
No, I
was thinking of you.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Maybe I need to get in touch with my inner feelings.
Where's Carol?
I just kind of feel like getting a book is like a lame present.
You feel like you're being given homework.
Yeah, and if I wanted to read a book, you know what I would do?
Learn to read.
I would just I'd buy the book. I don't know. I guess I'm a bad guy.
Listen, gifts at our age. This is not a gift giving podcast, or maybe it is now, but that's all gifts at our age. Gifts suck because if I want a gift, I'll just go get it.
I apologize to the viewers. I'm sorry. I'm a bad person. I accept that. I will look better at my inscription.
Why is this a self-reflective podcast?
All right. Arthurian
Arthurian legends.
Arthurian
Maybe
legends,
with you.
according
We're
to
sorry.
Josh. Arthurian legions.
Are we
Speculation.
back in legions?
Don't say legions. My boxes can hear you.
All right, so a lot of conversation this week about print run sizes and ordering.
Nope. Good try. Nice try, Satan. Simon's already my friend. I already saw him in person.
The heart of the conversation seems to be resolving around the idea that a lot of people will be
There
buying.
you go. Yeah, I was gonna say it.
A lot of people will be buying Arthurian legends in order to
Will it resolve though?
for quick profits and tendies as a result of what they saw with beta and with alpha. And so how will that affect people's buying and what will that do to the set long term?
Well, we've seen how it ends.
So I did a video about this a month ago or so. I think that a couple things. It's being put in waves. So I really think it's up to Eric Scuriosa making sure that first wave allocations and stuff are not tight. I mean, it needs to be available, right? Like it needs to be accessible. But that first wave is really important, right? Like the amount of product that's out. But then the second thing is we saw with beta. So like alpha was $800 a box when I put my beta pre-orders up. Alpha was like $700, $800 a box. I think maybe it was 500. I don't know. Anyway, it was expensive. The free tendies were obviously like thought of in there, and beta boxes sold for about $150. And then the big stores like Collector Store and some of the other big ones that are always like at map or even below for other games put up their pre-orders at like $120 a box, and they were up there for a while, and everybody was like, oh my gosh, they printed way too much supply, and then they sold out, and then everybody was buying from Team Covenant, and everybody was like, they printed way too much supply, look, you can still get boxes, whatever. And then now boxes are still $250 for beta. So I think that what?
Keep going, baby. It's a great story.
My point is,
surprised you don't like books. Continue.
my point is, I think that people need to be aware of that. We will see prices that will go below MSRP for a while, and that's not a bad thing. That's just like a thing that happens in TCGs.
It is much better for sorcery if that happens in the opposite.
Nailed it.
Like we have seen what happens when the opposite occurs, including your mocking me this podcast even. Mondo 1K.
You completely deserve all that mockery.
Yeah.
Okay, no. I deserve the credit for Mondo 1K. I'm not going to name names, Rudy, but somebody stole that from me.
That's fair. That's 100% fair.
You do deserve credit to 1K.
I'm not sure you really want that credit, but I guess somebody like you just wants all the attention they can get, whether it's good or bad.
George to 1K.
I'm in. It's much, much better for sorcery if boxes come out at 120, 110, 100 than 500.
Yeah.
Than 300. It is flat out dangerous for sorcery.
We're seeing this with Star Wars right now. A lot of stores are pre-selling at $250.
Yeah.
Which is wild. We are just doing 120 in store only. I'm not even putting boxes on the website because it'll just get snapped up instantly.
Yeah.
But we're seeing that with Star Wars where people are already complaining in the Discord. It's like, I can't get any boxes. What do I do? And the answer is like, find a local store that's not a scumbag and buy from your local store that you're playing at, and don't expect to get boxes if you're not playing somewhere locally. But
yeah, I mean, I think that's fair. I tend to think the sorcery team will figure this out. Like the problem with a lot of the other indies has been they got high in their own supply.
Yeah, they want
like
that money.
they're just like, I know what I can do. I'm gonna hit the print button until the button breaks off. Then I'm buying a hammer and hammering it some more.
MetaZoo!
Yeah, it doesn't work.
We were talking about this the other day. George and I were talking about this. Can you imagine if MetaZoo never rose their MSRP if they kept it at the $100 a box, and B just did 50,000 boxes?
It'd be such better.
Can you also remember imagine if they delivered their products on time?
Well, they would have been able to afford to do that because they wouldn't have had 100,000 boxes of anyway.
I tend to think that Sorcery. I think this is the dust thing. This is their data collection. They're seeing what's happening with boxes much more than any other game.
That's fair.
And so they won't make the same mistakes that these other games made. At least, let me walk that back.
I hope.
They have more information to not make the wrong decisions. I think they will. Look at me pumping Sorcery. I think they will actually figure this out better than the other needs. They also have the experience of time. They've seen what happens. Like to these other games, not credit, but to defend these other games somewhat. It was a whole new world, right? These games were the Magic killers, the Pokemon killers.
Right.
Well, they didn't. They're dead, right? Like, it's like, they had the same number of players as they did 3 years ago, and some of them were dead. Sorcery can learn from those mistakes. And I suspect they have. Simon and Eric strike me as people, unlike Louis, who can read, and so they can go back. They can listen to our amazing episodes of that time. They can watch the history of what happens to these games and learn from them, and I think they will. To me, I say flood the market in the beginning, like open the floodgates, and do the
boxes,
and do a large first print run. And then taper off into waves when boxes get closer to over MSRP.
We live in this crazy world now where everyone, because of the Magic killers and the Pokemon killers, believe that these boxes have to go up in value. When they go up in value, it's this positive thing right away. Yeah, these boxes should probably grow in value, but it should happen over time. And if it doesn't happen over time, you don't have the ability for your community to grow, for people to become attached, and for that value to be meaningful. Yeah. Right? You're waiting for it's MetaZoo. MetaZoo grew quickly. The boxes spiked. Things were crazy expensive.
$10,000.
But people didn't have any real attachment. There was no love there. Right? And George, you aside probably, but you didn't have the time because it wasn't built on the love for the game, the love for collecting, the love for the community that was built on a solid foundation. It was built on just FOMO hype and limited boxes.
So I think there's a balance too, though, right? Like I think what Sorcery did really, really well is even when the boxes came down in value into like the 120s, whatever, the EV was still positive. Like people were still utilizing the cards and like playing with them, and you were seeing people building sets and that kind of thing. And a lot of that has to do with the set being a 400 card set. And so it'll be really interesting with Arthurian Legends. As a consumer, you will need less boxes in order to open the cards that you want. So I think hypothetically, you end up ordering less, which means that some of that scale, and it seems like the team knows that and has been following that too. And so I think that's important. But
I struggle with EV when it comes to indie TCGs, right? Because the size of the market, the flow through rate of the singles and the EV that are selling is so low. It's like, look at indie TCGs that are either dead or dying or stable at 10,000, 15,000 players. Everyone will tell you till they're blue in the face. They'll grab you by the collar and they'll scream about the EV of these boxes. Mm-hmm. And like then somebody could be printing money, and there's people in that space with enough liquid cash to do so, and they're not. And it's telling because there's got to be someone on the other end of these sales, right? So the EV of these boxes, there's got to be something to the fact that when the community is not massive enough, you also don't have the downward pressure pushing everything down to its lowest point. So I don't know if I like to lean into the EV of indie TCGs as much.
I don't think the EV matters a lot. I
say I disagree.
What I would say is what I think I was impressed by with the Sorcery team is they didn't seem to panic on either end.
Sure.
Right. When boxes hit 120, there wasn't this like, I know we got to like rush out the dust store, even though it's not ready to get the to get Louis to pump pump our bags and carry our water like he does every episode. Like they didn't do that. And when boxes hit, I think too high of a price, they didn't panic and smash the reprint button until it fell off the computer. Mm-hmm. They seem to be a much more measured company than other indies. I think part of that well.
Is part of that the one set a year?
No, I don't think so. I think listen, I think they have their zen. I meant what I said last week. They have confidence in their product. And that they don't, like, looking back on where at least I messed up in the first season of this podcast. If you're selling your product not because of the product, but because it's going to the moon, that means you don't believe in your product. That means you only believe in scarcity, right? You only believe in FOMO. I think there's some elements of that are still around in these games, but in Sorcery in particular, they seem to believe that they're building a product that will stand the test of time. They're right or they're wrong. I don't think that actually matters, but they're making decisions that are based on that real belief in that. And that's impressive. I mean, like, they're not out there doing FOMO. The community's been cranky that they're silent about not creating FOMO.
Right.
And that's stupid. You couldn't, like, that's what I really messed up in the first era of this podcast.
Yeah,
like,
you kind of added to the FOMO in the first era of the podcast.
First of all, how dare you? Second of all, fair.
You kind of, you were kind of part of the FOMO. We all were. I mean, like,
we all were. It was crazy.
That's what
it was nuts. Every day you woke up, your card doubled in value.
That was
you have no idea why.
I mean, we would have been doing the same thing if it was Pokemon, right? Like, when the world is working that way, that's what works. But that's not the way the world works in the pandemic. And it seems like Sorcery, I think it's awesome that Sorcery came out post-pandemic, right? Because, like, they had to learn. And if I could sum up, like, in one word what I think you're trying to say, I think Sorcery cares more about the overall experience of being a Sorcery person than they do about the FOMO or about the hype or about the excitement or about the poll or whatever. Like, they want to curate something that is about like an overall experience for you. And I think that's important.
I got no problem with that take, except did you kick that off by saying if I could sum up in one word? And then talk for a minute and a half.
Experience. The word was experience.
Oh, okay.
Nobody got that.
We blanketed that with 250.
Nobody got that one word.
But hey, we got there. When did we the pandemic? We entered this world where we thought, like, this, if the box value isn't scarce a month after release, it's a bad product.
Yeah.
Like, how are you for a TCG? Like, waking up from that fog and having the statement, "Hey, your game came out, Star Wars. Hey, whatever your game is, your box should be on the shelf so people can buy it." And the whole people in the community just yell at you. I should be rewarded for collecting. Blah blah. It's like, what are we doing?
It's like so hard because I agree with you I agree with you, but if the entire economy of the game doesn't agree with us, if the entire economy of the
entire economy of games that are growing aggressively very much does.
I don't know. I don't know. Magic doesn't do it, obviously, and they're doing fine.
Magic, Pokemon,
Magic and Pokemon have the benefit of
Lorcana has a little bit of that.
Like Lorcana, the newest Lorcana box tanking, right? It's dropping pretty quick in value.
Looking a lot like a Pokemon product.
And
except
people
it's above,
and that's a great place for Lorcana to exist. That's where it should be existing, right? Trying to get out there as much as possible. Now, games can't do the Lorcana thing because you don't have Disney and Disney characters stamped onto the side of your box. You won't sell like that. You got to be out there.
I agree with the logic behind it. I just also think that you have to be careful because prior to the pandemic, there weren't 18 games that had a chance that were actually doing good and we're moving and going.
I think there's we've realized that this idea of there being a magic killer is totally insane.
That's fair, but my point is that there's way more competition now, so you do have to watch your print runs. You do have to be profitable for stores. I can promise you there's going to be a lot of stores who don't. I assume there was a lot of stores that didn't take their Lorcana because I was able to get more boxes this week, and I haven't been able to get more boxes of any other set previously. Sure. There's going to be a lot of stores who see it and say, I'm not going to buy it anymore because it doesn't make me money off the rip. And so that's going to happen.
But it does. Like, the Lorcana does it in the way it still makes you money off the rip. You sell for $120 for the first 4 weeks, right? And then after that, you're selling for $100 a box. That's not a bum deal as far as Lorcana is concerned. But like, I don't know, man. If you don't have a very serious involvement from people in this community and the ability to bring people in, the ability to keep growing, then none of it's going to matter in the long term anyway. You're going to be a flash in the pan.
I'm saying there has to be a balance. That's what I'm saying.
And I'm not. I want to be clear. I'm not advocating that you take your fourth set and you print 125,000 boxes and call it a first edition. Clearly not the move. I'm not saying you print that many boxes. You have to have a small idea.
I don't know anything about print runs.
You have to have you have to have like one eye open and actually know what your community wants a little bit.
Also put a bunch of unlimited boxes out at the same time or before.
A week later or something. I don't know. But point is, you can't just print 1 trillion and say, hey, thumbs up. But you should err on the side of too many, it feels like.
I think, and this is why I like that Arthurian Legends is doing it in waves, right? They can kind of scale back their waves of what they release. I would like to see boxes selling at like 140 on release and tapering back and forth between like 135 and 160.
Yeah, Sorcery's got the unique problem. Like it has to last for a year, and like how do you wave that out to also have a stability in price as well as availability of product? That's a tough one. Listen, if there's a team that's up for the challenge, it's this team, but it's a tough one.
Okay, let's move on to Goatkana. Out of print. George, tell us all about the first chapter boxes in Germany.
Close. Australia. Nailed it. Australia, New Zealand, mate. So my favorite YouTuber, the one that retired, was from one of those two countries. They're the same to me. No, Australia, New Zealand. And so like every time I see it, I'm like, oh, I hope like he's still playing Mario Tro levels, just and having fun.
You talk about your favorite YouTuber all the time on this podcast. Neither Josh or I really actually know what you're talking about. I think we care about you most times, and we're here for you.
It's like funny. Like, oh man, like I have not found the YouTube replacement yet. It's like very depressing.
So I'll send you a link.
I'm going to send him a book.
It's going to be to this podcast.
I'm going to send you a book.
I'm going to send you a link to this podcast. Here's your replacement, buddy.
I'm going to write a book, How to Find a YouTuber.
Season 2 is a real doozy.
The book
is going to be a link to a Google Doc of your link of your channel.
No, it's gonna end with you going to Josh's channel, and I'm going to write in it at the beginning of the book so you can never throw it away.
All right. So Australia or New Zealand or some other crazy country with a lot of spiders and kangaroos got first chapter boxes for the first time. And there were a few interesting things. We basically think that it was the second print run, not the most recent print run of first chapter.
With the tape? With the tape.
Got the tapes.
Tapes.
So that's interesting.
So wait, what was the third print run? Did that have saran wrap?
Wait, was the third print run wrapped?
Yeah, I think so.
Nice.
I think it went nothing, stickers,
I feel like I don't know the answer to that question.
It's like,
God, if you're wrong, next week on the podcast, it's going to be gross for you. It's going to be bad.
Oh, hold on. I know what I can do.
There were 2 runs of nothing, I believe.
Yes.
I think the first,
The first small restock had nothing because then the guy came out in the video that looked like the South Park, what is it? The BP Oil South Park skit where he's like, "We're sorry. Hey guys, we're sorry," and then they taped the box.
I just pinged Donald in our Discord server. He said yes, it was. He said ? Yes.
Knowledge.
Why are you pinging me? I'm trying to avoid. I'm trying to enjoy some spicy marg.
Games that we talk about. The other 2 are Josh and Louie. So it seems like they likely got second print run, and this surprised me. My question for you guys is: do we think they will, and do we think they should ever announce a box is out of print? That this box is gone, it will never be printed again.
According to what you just said about Sorcery, they should print a bunch more boxes so this ends up being $100 box.
Now, hold on. If we get to compare Sorcery to Lorcana,
Go ahead.
Do we get to do that? Do we? Is that fair game now?
Yeah, Louis. What happened?
No, I'm just
I'm
saying,
just
that's
saying,
what
What
just-
happened? What happened?
I was
just saying was
screamed
good
at
for a new
before
game.
the game was released.
And I would like to state they absolutely should.
Okay.
They could absolutely do another huge print run to get, I don't think 100, but to try to get boxes down to 110 to 120. They could absolutely do that.
I don't know. Here's a question for you, George.
Yeah.
Can they? Can they print enough product to get boxes to 110? Yeah. You think so?
It's just gonna be a lot.
Well, because remember they have their first, what was it, 7 sets already planned out?
They do. Yeah.
So theoretically, they've already got a bunch of print time on the books. They'd have to fill in there, and they also have to reprint the other boxes as well. Can they print enough?
I will say
to get down to 110.
Ravensburger has shown that they have a very weird ability to print a lot of boxes quickly in a way that's like impressive and strange, to be candid.
Yeah, and why do we give people passes for this? I was critical of Ravensburger and then said, hey, they fixed it, good for them. And then my whole community wants to give Star Wars a pass, be like, it's hard to print boxes. I'm like, no, this other company that makes board games figured it out. You figure it out.
Donald said that it wasn't. The question didn't come through. The yes was because I tagged him. He said yes. The question didn't come through. He said your question didn't actually come through until now. It was not. It was not shrink wrapped. So this could be.
Wait. It was nothing tape print strand wrap.
No, it was not shrink wrapped.
Not according to the expert, bud.
Donald would know.
That ain't you.
The last one was shrink wrapped. We have boxes that were shrink wrapped.
I don't think we have
send pics. Send pics.
I'm doing a box?
Yeah. Yes.
I mean, if you have a box that's shrink wrapped, then Donald's just wrong.
Yeah.
But he's saying no first edition is shrink wrapped?
Yes.
You said you're going to go to box, so this will solve this.
I think I have one in the closet. Give me a second.
I don't actually know. I don't handle our Lorcana product. Donald handles all of our Lorcana products. So.
For good reason, because he's the GOAT.
Yeah, like he's the one who puts it.
Yeah.
We don't sell it, like we're just using it for support.
Honest question. While maintaining their current print, do you think they could print enough first chapter without interrupting, saying like, hey, hold on. Let me outline the rules. You can't just be like, Ursula's Return's already at 109. Never reprint it. Use that time to reprint first chapter. Assuming they already have a reprint schedule lined up. Can they do it?
I think that it wouldn't take. Let's pretend that the print run is currently 250,000 boxes.
Banned.
Let's pretend that that's the print run. Currently they printed 250,000 boxes.
Stop saying it. I'm going to keep banning you.
I think it would take.
Oh my gosh! Wait, hold on.
75,000 boxes, and that would lower the print run to close to MSRP.
MSRP is 140, isn't it?
140. Yeah.
I said 110.
What I don't know is what it takes to get boxes from 140 to 110. That's the question. I'm just saying my point is I think it's really easy to get boxes from the 230 that it is now back down to MSRP.
But the reason I posed the question is because the last $30 I think is really difficult.
It's really hard because most stores are not going to put it on TCG Player unless it's more than
I'll just hold. It's one of those products that'll sit in my back room until it goes back to 140. It'll never see the light of day.
Right. And if you need to sell to MSRP, you have it in your store. I think that the only reason for a store to put it at above MSRP on the secondary market is because you don't want to rip off your customers. You don't want to be the store that rips off their customers.
And you still want to make your money. Yeah.
You have to make your money, and the demand is slower. Right. The demand locally for first chapter is certainly less in terms of playable cards. Like right now, the demand for our local store for first chapter is strictly people who are like, I want to pull an Ursula. I want to, whatever.
It's Pokemon. It's Disney Pokemon.
So what we use it for is prize support. That's what we use it for, right? Like we do a special event or we do whatever because there's no point in it. So
I want to start using all the negative connotation words like lottery ticket that we use with Magic the Gathering.
Strangely empty-handed here.
Yeah, wild.
It's just open. I want to open the case.
Oh, not worth it to be right on the podcast.
No, definitely not. The new boxes are shrink wrapped. I have to actually did first edition shrink wrapped.
According to Donald, now Donald, I don't know.
Oh, here we go hedging. Go ahead.
I'm not hedging. I'm all in on Donald. I've picked my champion. I have chosen my champion.
Just only opened cases that were second print run. He might not have opened third print run cases.
Oh, interesting. I thought they were.
we may have sold all of our third print run and just had some left over from second print run.
Can I tell you? Can I tell you? I like the bare box with no shrink wrap on the shelf.
You would like that.
I really do, because I don't have the pressure of like.
I have no idea what that means. No matter what it means.
That's gross. I'm a married man. Thank you. That's disgusting.
So no
shrink wrap. I know.
No, not. I'm married. No.
So no matter what, even if the first edition is not shrink wrapped, clearly if they do another print run, it will be.
Yeah, I would think that's fair. I think that's fair.
Yeah.
I think the restock of first chapter, that most recent one, came before they had.
It could be
Inklands, because Inklands was shrink wrapped, but the second set, Floodborn, was not, right?
No, Floodborn was. I thought Floodborn was shrink wrapped.
I think the first print, I think, was not. Didn't that's why they put the tape on it.
So God,
this is so cool.
We are definitely in the weeds. But November 18th is when they announced that their next set would be shrink wrapped. So that was right before Floodborn. Okay, so anywho, this doesn't matter. What this does mean is that Australia and New Zealand and Spiders did not get new printings of first chapter. These boxes were already printed.
That means those
most likely
darn fools had it all along, and they could have been giving it to us.
So I think that's probably accurate.
So I mean, I guess my question is, like, do we think they will announce at any point that a set is out of print, and should they?
I think after 2 years they will.
Wow.
Oh, will they announce that it's out of print?
That's the question.
I think that's silly. I don't think they're that petty.
Listen,
like, why does Lorcana care to be like, hey, look, it's out of print? Like they know
announces their sets are out of print.
No, they don't.
No, they don't. They
Distro gives you a last call.
Distro gives you a last call, and then they raise the price for 6 months, and things go up. They just did the same thing with
Wizards of the Coast. Wizards of the Coast abandoned making that announcement. They don't do
Wizards doesn't come out and be like, "Hey, everybody, buy our product now because we need to pump our bags." Like, oh, it's going to be the last time.
They do it on Amazon like a gentleman.
PTSD from Louis. Holy guacamole!
They do it on Amazon like a gentleman. That's how they pump their bags.
Make sure you buy your boxes now, because we're going to have a special draft of it in 2 months. They don't play the shenanigans game with it because there's actual demand. Like, they don't need to do that.
Great. I know like half those references.
The
other half I'm totally lost on. I know a game, I think, but I'm like totally lost on half the references.
I moved those bags because they were haunting me during the shelf reorganization. I was like, I'm going to put them back, and I said, no.
Now I'm
not doing
confused.
it.
Josh sold his flesh and blood. What do you want?
You really?
No.
What bags are you talking about?
I moved them so they're not behind me, so I don't have to look at them anymore. I'm overlooking at my failures.
That's less fun.
Well, I gotta have someone to buy them.
I've said this the whole time. I think Pokemon has the best reprint policy, and I think that's what Lorcana should adopt. They should adopt. I can reprint anything at any time for any reason, and y'all can go pound sand.
Yeah,
I think that is the right reprint policy, and they should reprint Chapter 1.
Are you still going to make fun of Pokemon when they do that? And they put it on their Pokemon store, and then you send me the screenshots, and you're like, look at this. Zero.
You know what?
Ave Maria.
Pokemon will view it as a challenge. Like, we still have to double up Lorcana's print runs. Print more, baby.
They should. I mean, I think that they should adopt that reprint policy.
All right. Now time for the thing that we know the most. Oh, so Donald's box that he has that he says is from the set 3 reprint is not from our store. It's from winning the Morgantown set championship.
Wait, set 3?
No, not set 3. From print wave 3. So his box would not be potentially like me having a second wave in stock. But
Gotcha.
Okay. Here we go.
Donald information. Oh, he's carrying this podcast when he's not even
here. That's why we left him in the Discord server, so we can ping him while we're filming. Donald, you're the best. He'll love this.
I'm more excited to see him for Gen Con than I am to see you. I'll be honest with you.
What's Gen Cam?
Gen Con.
You said Gen Cam.
Okay. Yeah. Is it because I'm thinking about my beer can that has a shark on it? Because I'm all in, baby.
Ooh, berry tasty. That's got to be nasty, dude. You
like bad.
Fruity beer?
No, but it was $19 down to $10. It was $9 off for a 12 pack, so I bought it.
I would never buy discounted beer. That 100% means that it's awful. There's a reason that it's discounted.
Booze still works the same. I'm still here talking to you.
Okay, here's the more important question. Josh.
Louis.
Should I let George, should I let you do it? Because it is your special.
No, go ahead. I will step in.
Are you telling me you received George's special sauce ahead of time?
Yeah. No,
before the rest of us?
I am the reason George has special sauce. Okay, so.
Would you say you donated it?
George and I were talking on the phone the other day.
Shocking.
I said to him, oh crap, my headphone is out of battery. Let me get my other headphone. Then I put my left headphone in and I said, holy crap, in the 3 years that we have been friends, this is the first time my left ear has heard you.
Then you said something mean about that, I believe. You said my left ear hates you as much as my right ear does.
So far, the story passes my smell test. Having had conversations at length with both of you, so far so good. Proceed, counselor.
You know it was a good joke when it got a laugh 3 days later on the podcast.
That was a good one. You know this. It does not matter if people make fun of me as long as it's funny.
I think
if you're going to make fun of me, I'm fine with that. Make it funny.
I think I also added that it's just not used to it yet. So anyway, which George was baffled by the idea that when I talk to him, I don't have both headphones in. So what's normal? Is it more normal to talk to somebody with both headphones in or with one headphone in when you're talking using your headphones?
Is this a serious question?
Yes. We have had a more passionate discussion about this than any TCG topic we've ever had.
Yeah.
I can't believe we're talking about this. It's clearly both headphones.
Thank you.
It's not close.
Thank you. Thank you. You're a lunatic.
What kind of
madman? You're a lunatic.
Chooses to walk around with one headphone in.
Thank you. You're a madman.
I've been there when it died, but what are you doing? They merged together.
I have literally never talked to anybody with both headphones in. I've never done that. Even when I'm listening to music and somebody calls me, I take out a headphone.
What? Hold on. We need to go over this last scenario.
You listen to music in both, but only talk to one.
So you've got 2 headphones in. You've got 2 headphones in. I call you.
Yes.
Hey, Lou, what's going on? You answer the phone by going, hello.
No, that's my right ear. I leave my right ear in. I take the left.
Yeah, God.
You're true. Hello, and then you take your. Do you?
It's more like this. It's more.
Is it a relationship thing? Do you give it to your wife so she can listen to the other side of the conversation?
It's more like answer the phone, say hi, what's up, and then while I'm talking to you, I take out the left phone because it's not comfortable to me to talk to you guys and have you in both ears. I think it's one of two things. It's like a spatial thing. Like I like to like if I have headphones in, the only reason I have headphones in is because I'm mowing. Right, that's the only time I ever listen to it.
That is not accurate at all. You always have your headphone in.
No, I'm saying if I'm listening to music, the only time,
okay.
I have my headphones in. The only time I'm listening to music is if I'm mowing.
I want to get another opinion on this, Kristen. When you answer your phone and you have your headphones in, do you take a headphone out or have the conversation with both headphones in? Like a normal person. Thank you. Okay.
Wait, hold on. Ask her the first question. That one's
right.
I'll give you that one.
Louis, this is the craziest take you've had on this podcast.
Yeah. And this is the wildest take you've ever had.
This is
everybody gets it. People not even on screen get it. You're an insane person, buddy.
This is why you had nothing to the relationship.
Yeah, you're right. He's wrong.
I asked Donald. I have to know if I'm.
Did you ask Donald?
I did. So I think it's either the first thing is like it's just spatial for me. Like I like to be able to aware my surroundings, and I'm not used to having headphones in. Or number two, it's probably more realistically that I almost always am somewhere around my kids.
Can I give a shout out to Bose headphones? The Bose plugs. They are GOAT. And they have certain, you can do a special setting that lets you hear your surroundings.
Yeah.
Even while they're in.
And then it adapts when your surroundings change.
I'm sorry, I just don't trust it.
I have those too, and they adapt when your surroundings change. They're not Bose, they're another brand. But they adapt when you go into a place with more noise, they cut it out until they feel like someone's talking to you, and then they let that in. It's super easy.
Donald also uses 2. I'm outvoted 3-1.
You are so crazy.
You're
crazy.
I'm sorry. I can't do it. I agree. Fine. I will succumb to the idea that I am just wrong, but I will not change. It's just like
that's the Louis I know and love. Listen, that's the Louis I know and love.
Continue to buy and invest in indie TCGs, and it's the same reason. I don't know. I won't get a real job. I'll just invest in this channel.
But buddy, let me tell you, don't get a real job. It's a scam.
I know. Oh, everything's a scam.
It sucks.
You know what a scam is? You know what the biggest scam is? The price of McDonald's and Taco Bell. I got Taco Bell today was $18 from my lunch.
George, did you have this conversation with him too? Are you the one? Yeah, very fair.
Yeah.
In one ear.
In one ear. I heard you in both ears and told you about my Taco Bell trip post basketball.
Wait a second. You lunatics are driving your cars with 2 headphones in?
I put you in my car. You go through my car
you
speakers.
have Bluetooth in your car.
What is wrong with you?
How is this?
How have you not died?
I don't use that either. I put one headphone in and take you off of my Bluetooth. When I'm driving my car,
because you're afraid of what I'm going to say in front of your kids.
When I'm driving my car, you're in my ear, not in my Bluetooth.
Yeah, you have kids in the car. That makes sense.
No, not even when I don't have my kids in the car. I hate.
Okay, you're weird. What is happening?
I don't know. I hate talking on the Bluetooth speaker. I hate that.
You're a psychopath.
This is crazy talk.
Yeah,
I'm baffled that I'm wrong here.
This is deranged.
Content creators have made statements about you that I previously disagreed with. I don't know if I do anymore. I think
Michael, get a box later.
I think maybe I get it.
Shout out to Booster Snacks if you still want to sponsor the podcast after hearing about me and my 1 ear listening.
If you still want to sponsor the podcast after this episode, you're as unhinged as us, and the sponsorship is perfect.
BoosterSnacksUS.com. Don't forget to use your discount code, which I am forgetting right now. It's right in front of me, literally right there.
George,
which is
answer an important question before he says the discount code.
Bundle 2024. Boom, beat you to.
Did you check your box? Did you get cards?
I haven't looked at my box yet.
I haven't gotten my box of snacks yet.
I got 3 of these. Hold on, Louis, tell me this is normal. I got 3 of these sealed cards in my box.
I don't.
He hasn't gotten the box yet.
I haven't. I don't think that's normal. I think they just listened to the podcast. And
I think they hooked me up.
I think
they know I am the only sealed product investor, baby.
Spoiler alert: the first rule about getting hooked up is to not talk about how hooked up you got.
I don't care. I want to give them a shout out.
I like the pack on that. I like the shininess.
Yeah.
Make sure you go buy some Booster Snacks. Also, subscribe to Josh's channel over at Hometown TCG.
Homertown.
Make sure you join the Discord server at KitchenTableTCG.com. Thank you for all the support. Join us for live streams. Josh live streams on Friday mornings at 9 a.m.
8 a.m. Central Time.
The only time that matters is Eastern. Nobody lives in
8 a.m.
Nobody does Central Time.
No, it's either, Central Time. You guys are like the forgotten time zone that nobody cares about.
Absolutely. Nobody cares about Central Time.
It's your channel. I don't care. It's your channel at 8 a.m. Central Time, everybody. So get your calculators out and figure out what time that is in freedom time.
I forgot all of your subscribers live in the woods of West Virginia. That makes 9 a.m. Mountain.
We stream on Monday nights for Magic around 8 to 9, whatever time my kids go to bed.
Central or Eastern?
Eastern time.
Good.
I'm an American.
Wait, you have this much of the country. You might as well be Canadian.
We have this much of the country, but we have like half the population. The other half is on Pacific time, which is the only other time zone that actually.
First of all, buddy, stop coattail riding New York. You don't have half the population. You have half the trees in the country, probably.
I don't think that's true. And we stream sorceries on Sunday night.
What a wild fact check! We started the wild fact check and we ended the wild fact check by Louis.
If you are still watching our podcast, we love you. Thank you.
The trailers in the country, maybe
you are part of us. We will have a special episode for episode 100. I've got some ideas. I haven't brought it up to the boys yet.
Your first idea was terrible. So
that's like the only idea. When I said ideas, I'm gonna have to sell Josh on it, and then we'll both sell you on it.
Such a bad idea.
I'm a tougher sell than George's.
All right.
Fuck, a
Ending
bad
the
idea.
podcast. 3, 2, 1. Be kind to the people around you, and may the zoo be with you.
And also with you, Louie.